we're shooting an interview for social media, and I think you will ask me some sassy questions that will make me move. We met when I think I approached you with my solo Ladia that was inspired. I think that's why you liked it, because when it was inspired by Nadia Comaneci, the Romanian gymnast, and Lara Croft. These two women together. And then you invited me to play here during one storytelling evening. And that was great. The idea was to show the pressure that especially female athletes experience, but any women really. But this was also to kind of look at the backstage of what Nadia Comaneci was maybe experiencing when she was not really on the TV and during her competition, and same when Lara Croft is not in the video game as a person. How are they as people when they don't have this pressure to fight, and when they do, who do they do it for? Why do they suffer so much? And I use these two specific references, but it was of course universal. I think all women can relate to that on some level. Body as a weapon of propaganda, and the opposite. So kind of it's the first and the last, I guess, resort through which we can agree or disagree with something. So yeah, it was kind of about how physicality is often used in service of an ideology or something to express something very powerfully. And the idea was that the people who participated in these massive unison parades that served as the weapon of the regime didn't really have a choice maybe not to participate. So yeah, it was playing with that idea of how the socialist regime used the body as a weapon to spread the ideology. And people were just the bodies, which I don't believe that we are ever just that. Yes, I think physicality was something very important to me always. I think it's also cultural. When I've met people from other cultures, I think it's much less present in their educational system, their idea of lifestyle. I think that was something very supported during the communist times in Czechoslovakia. So yeah, I'm just more and more interested in how that shapes people's identity, and for sure for me as a dancer that is important. And yeah, I'm kind of questioning things maybe from the past, but also from the West. I mean, it's a big question, but I am trying through physical expression to question things about both Eastern and Western womanhood. I think as a more as a choreographer and maker, I got to a point that it was more interesting for me to look for movement material outside of like the recognized forms of dance, because those felt already explored. So I started to look at sports and other athletic disciplines, which in a way I thought like this is also a performance in some way. Gymnastics, and that's why I started looking at Spartakiadas, these massive unison parades, because they were very performative in a way, but the participants were not professional dancers or movers. So that was actually the initial reason. And then I started really, like when I'm watching all these videos about that time in Czechoslovakia, I realized that physical fitness was so at the center of like the educational system and everything. And I find that very interesting. And I'm trying to bring that into the dance, because I feel like it's a very specific and interesting reference that is not a dance style, but more refers to a period in time and a cultural thing. What the link between them to me was this idea that we, as I said before, that there is a lot of performance potential in other things that are not dance or theater. And I was thinking like, okay, Lara Croft, it's a virtual, non-existent person, but she's a character, and Nadia Comaneci is a very real person. But I was thinking like, okay, who do they do these things for? That was my main question. Like, why to go through this whole series of struggle and suffering to prove something to someone else, and who is that someone else and why? And kind of like trying to understand what goes on backstage before before the competition starts, or when there is a game over, and like how does Nadia Comaneci or Lara Croft feel? Like what is her personal experience of this, having to prove that they are strong and that they can fight forever. Yeah, so yes, I will continue exploring womanhood, and both from the Eastern and the Western perspective. The embodiment of women. I'm in Majka, so in the first production, I will be focusing on actually still the Czechoslovak communist propaganda from the 70s, which actually was not that intense anymore, and how the advertising also starts to seep in, and how this girl, she's an alien coming from the outer space, how she is learning about how to be a woman, how to become a woman. So yes, I see it as a kind of continuation of all these topics, and I'm really excited about this one in particular, because also since she's a more like a fairy tale character, an alien, I'm just looking forward to exploring what that means. Also, this obsession with the outer space of the Soviet bloc, and what did that mean? Yes, so Majka is an alien girl from the outer space, and she will be here on stage, kind of trying to learn how to become a proper woman, and her references will be from this socialist propaganda in the 70s, but also some advertisements from that time. So it will be like a sonda onto this process of her becoming a woman. To maybe be able to find continuity in my work, and really just dive in a way that it doesn't always feel like all the effort is only put into a very small project, but I can kind of grow within the process in all the aspects, the artistic, personal, business, everything. I'm looking forward to that. And to also integrating all these things that I use in my dances, that is not just the physical movement, but also other media. I work with video and with text. And since I am indeed lucky to have this 2-year residency, I really want to explore how they can merge into a coherent experience and not just be put at the end of the process into a mix of things that really exist together.